Well, it just happens to be Wednesday, March the 13th, 2013. We have not done a progressive discussions in quite some time, and we're getting close to spring. We're getting very close to spring. It is very mild outside, and I just want to say to everyone, welcome to Progressive Discussions. Better late than never. This is Progressive Discussions. I am your host, James P. Madonna, and we are coming to you live and, of course, pre-recorded from the Newsletter Censored Research Center in northeastern New Jersey. And this is the St. Patrick's Day 2013 countdown. We have one more St. Patrick's Day countdown to go before St. Patrick's Day. That's why I'm wearing this new shamrock tie. Let me formally pipe aboard my co-host and mentor aboard our progressive liberal pirate ship that we call Newsletter Censored, which is the foundation of our entire organization, founded in 1977 by my co-host and mentor.
Oh my God.
Sounded a little weird.
Certainly did.
Like a warble of some kind. I guess it hasn't been used in almost 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
But I mean, you heard it.
Oh God, we heard it. We heard it.
It's me bosun's whistle. All right. Welcome aboard, my co-host and mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. How are you feeling, sir, on this, I guess you would call it pre-spring week, St. Patrick's Day week?
Yeah, but unfortunately, temperature's going down again.
Are they really?
Yes. No, not that much, but at this time of the year, I believe, the average temperature should be 47. We've had 4 days in the 50s, which was good.
That doesn't sound too good on the human body. The constant fluctuation of temperature, up and down, up and down. I mean, there are some up and downs that are actually positive, but that's a whole new talk show.
Oh my Lord!
The levity bells have a little cobwebs on them, so just thought I'd get that out of the way. If you are looking for very high quality Irish imports, novelties, gifts, souvenirs, whatever you want to call them, go to XavierGifts.com. That's spelled XAVIER gifts.com, and speak to email Patty and tell her that James P. Madonna of Megalife 21 sent you, and if you can acquire your order through her, and they just have the very best quality in Irish imports, and you can even get one of these lucky blackthorn shillelaghs from Ireland that I swing around, and it's a great company, XavierGifts.com. Now let me begin, because there's always stuff going on. There's always stuff going on. I'm gonna actually let me end my commentary with something pertaining to that reading, because
take the reading then, if you got the commentary to it.
Well,
because all I got is a caption.
Yeah. Okay. No problem. All right. I'll just.
You can show the people that's hypocritic nonsense.
Oh boy. Yep. Okay. Now, Dr. Bill, I have actually seen for the very first time the first Roman Catholic Church commercial promoting their church, the Roman Catholic Church, on, primetime TV. They were advertising themselves. I've never seen it before. Usually they're advertising some agenda connected with the church, but they were actually advertising the church themselves. And they had a website. Turns out they have more than one website, but this was one of their websites. I'm not going to plug or promote it because we
already have over 1 billion adherents.
And
what do they want?
Not to mention probably billions of dollars in net assets.
The biggest landlord in the world.
Yeah, so we're not going to plug or promote them
one of the devil's churches,
because we do not see eye to eye with them. But I noticed something that they said at the end of the commercial that made me think of you, and I shook my head when I heard it. And they said that the Roman Catholic Church, the church that was created by Jesus Christ.
Yeah, through Peter, they say. Through Peter, the rock, Petra, Padre, Papa.
Whatever happened to Simon Magus?
Whoa, I guess they conveniently forget about that.
Brother Magus. Why? How come Simon Magus' name wasn't mentioned in the commercial? So in other words, what they're saying is that they represent Jesus Christ because they claim Jesus Christ started.
Yeah, they claim that they grew out of the church that Jesus established. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're saying Peter. Jesus Christ created the Catholic Church, which means that they feel they represent Jesus.
If that were true, then who were those people that the church were having exterminated and martyred and etc. if they grew out of that particular church?
And
who were they calling heretics? Those were the people from the original church that Jesus started that they were calling that. That they had the emperor's attack on their behalf.
I mean
et cetera.
The disciples that were martyred,
apostles, and 11 apostles were martyred,
and the persecution of the early Christians.
Yeah, Judaizing everything. We don't believe in Judaizing all of this stuff.
But they paganized everything.
Oh, yeah, they sure did.
They paganized everything.
That was okay.
They don't want to Judaize it. And then later on, of course, the Spanish Inquisition, etc., etc. Now, throughout history, the Crusades.
50 million people they killed, trying to convert by the sword.
Okay. You heard it from the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisman. So, to come out with this bold statement that the Catholic Church was created by Jesus Christ himself is not true. It's not true. So, Simon Magus. Simon the Maggot. Right.
Simon Magus.
Simon of Maggots. Simon Magus.
Babylonian mystery religion.
That wasn't that song that the Beatles started. A mystery tour?
No, that was yeah. I had that album.
Mystery tour.
I had that album.
Remember that?
Magical Mystery Tour.
Magical Mystery Tour. You want to take me away, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, now the CEO of Whole Foods, his last name is Mackey. All right. I was bucking heads with this this guy from the old food and craft beer group, Mr. James Swan. He's part of the crew that doesn't want to talk about anything serious. He doesn't want to talk about anything political. Just wants to talk about just how great craft beer tastes and how much he enjoys drinking it with his buddies. you know, he's from that crowd, you know, the old hot dog nation with Irwin Benz, you know, everything is feel good, party, it tastes great. Oh, I enjoyed this place. I went to this restaurant. You know, they never, you know, and that whole crowd that follows them, they don't talk about anything meaningful or deep. Well, anyway, James Swan says that he refuses to believe all the negative hype that I am telling him about publicly about the Whole Foods Company opening up a bar and the fact that they were selling questionable certified organic foods from China. Questionable certified organic foods from China, from mainland China. And he called it negative hype. He refused to accept it. And then of course Whole Foods is now serving in some locations serving beer on tap. I imagine craft beer. They already sell wine, so now Whole Foods can be proud to say that they're in the alcoholic beverage business. You know, it's supposed to be like the world's largest health food store, right? So anyway, James Swan says it's negative hype. I go, why do you find it so hard to believe that a corporate CEO can be so underhanded and greedy and sneaky and lying and, you know, and be involved in any chicanery over the consumer?
Was he around in 2007, 2008 with the financial meltdown?
Yeah.
Which was based on all of that.
Well, I called them
greed,
I called them
lies, etc., etc.
Yeah. Well, I called him a right-wing teabagger because I says, who else would defend a corporate CEO but a deluded fool, a foolish right-wing teabagger?
Well, I'm sure that went over well.
I had to call him that.
Why?
Because he defended a CEO of a corporation that is found.
I realize that, but you got to understand something. If you're trying to educate something, you certainly don't put them off by personal attacks. That ain't going to educate them. That's going to drive them away.
Well, he kept on saying that I'm spreading negative hype about Whole Foods.
And tell them to go look it up somewhere.
Of course, there's negative hype involving a corporate CEO in America. What else is new?
It's all over the place.
What else is new? I mean, Gary Null himself. I even mentioned Gary Null bucked heads with Mackie the Knife. Mac the Knife, that was a song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mackie, CEO Mackie. I don't know what his first name is, but Mackie, CEO of Whole Foods. It's just the way he came out with it as like I was attacking the late Mother Teresa or something. You know, negative. I refuse to accept the negative hype. Come on, it's a corporate CEO. Now, anyway, now they're serving beer. Yeah, they're a gin mill now. We were talking last time I saw you, Dr. Bill. We were discussing this. We were discussing disabled people, and there's this character called the Blade Runner Pistorius.
Mr. Pistorius. Yes.
Mr. Pistorius.
South Africa.
Yeah, the Blade Runner guy who the Taz, as we call them, but people like him make it very difficult. They make life very difficult for disabled people all over the world, especially in the United States, where we have all these Republicans now. Make it very hard.
Do away with programs for the disabled.
Yeah, they're giving the government, well, the conservatives in the U.S., they're giving them more of an excuse to cut ammunition to cut social programs for disabled people, because then they'll turn around and say, well, the famous Mr. Pistorius of South Africa, the Blade Runner, if he can hold a job and he could run and enter athletic competition, then you, sir, in a wheelchair, can certainly get a full-time job, and and we could take away your Social Security disability. Yeah. So this is more ammunition for conservatives.
So we can give it to big oil companies. as subsidies.
Yeah, we'll have more subsidies for oil
There
companies.
you go. There you go.
Which I hear the Republicans.
Hey, that's Mr. Paul Ryan. That's his whole shtick. His whole shtick.
I hear the Republicans in Congress are still trying to give more subsidies to big oil, and they're doing it right in front of everybody's face. It's like they're not shy about it.
No, they're not.
And what is his what cockamamie excuse does the douchebag face Paul Ryan Muppet face the
Howdy doody.
the howdy doody the perpetual thirsty man
Thirst quencher.
Thirst quencher. What excuse does he have this time for giving oil subsidies?
Well, he doesn't say, come out and say that. You know, he's got to pretend that. What he's doing is he put out a new budget. But the budget assumes that Obamacare ain't going to be there anymore. It's going to be repealed.
He's so sure of that.
That's the point. The Supreme Court said it stands. Now, where does he come up with this crap? It ain't going nowhere.
Well, they're obviously sore losers, the Republicans.
Yeah, but they don't believe they lost because of the way they think, the way their ideas are. They don't believe that at all.
They're like a rich, spoiled child who's pissed off that his toy was taken away. That's the way they behave.
So they still now, what they're doing now is doing the same old, but trying to rebrand it.
Right,
You
correct.
see. Call it something else.
Insanity?
No, that's honesty.
Oh,
No.
they're always giving little
You know, like the
pet names.
under Bush, that allowed more pollution and arsenic in the water and etc. Called it the Clear Skies Amendment. You see, that's what they do.
Oh, that's like this real heavy guy when I was a kid. They called him Tiny.
Tiny. There you go.
Or if he's obese, they might call him Skinny.
Skinny. There you go.
You know,
That's how it is.
it's kind of funny sarcasm, but not when the mainstream masses suffer by it and the planet. Now, speaking of Republicans that are in the spotlight and very funny-looking, nauseating Republicans, every time you see this man's face, I feel like throwing up. I'm talking about ugly old turtle face Mitch McConnell
Oh God.
of Kentucky.
Guess who's going to go up against him?
Yeah, Ashley
Ashley Judd.
Yeah, well, I'm not happy about that.
She's got a nice looking face though.
I don't care what she looks
Compared
like.
to the turtle.
How the hell? Well, I've come to the conclusion that anything to the left of Mitch McConnell should be a vast improvement over Mitch McConnell. But how in the hell does a wealthy, narcissistic Hollywood actress, how is a person like that going to have empathy and compassion for the mainstream masses to be able to work in Washington on their behalf? Why? Because she can identify with certain women's issues? Does that make her qualified to take Mitch McConnell's place? Well, I think she would be a tremendous improvement over Mitch McConnell. I'm no fan of Mitch McConnell, but come on. An actress? I mean, when was the last time an actor was in office?
1980.
Ronald Reagan.
Correct.
Right. Okay. So I don't know.
It happens.
Yeah, she's a hot-looking what do they call them? MILF, cougar, an older woman.
MILF, yeah.
MILF. Well, they used to call them MILF. Now they like to be called cougars. Older woman.
Oh, the cougars are the ones that attack.
You mean the ones on the prowl?
Yeah, aggressive. Yeah.
That you don't like
That's a cougar.
like an older woman who sends a young guy a drink and says, you know, hey honey, come over and sit next to me. I'll warm you up.
Possibly.
I'll warm you up.
Ooh, no, maybe she wants him to warm her up, maybe.
Yeah, these are the women who can have 1,000,000 orgasms and everything because they're older and their sex drive is peaking and they're cougars.
Ooh.
Yeah, ooh. Ooh. So anyway, yeah, so Ashley Judd, yeah. You'll be a tremendous improvement over Mitch McConnell. Then again, Elmer Fudd would be a tremendous improvement over Mitch McConnell. Hunting,
and for what it's worth,
hunting squee, wascoey, wittagway, wabbits.
and for what it's worth,
Yeah.
she's a Democrat.
She's a Democrat. Now, hopefully, she won't be a Democrat like Al Franken, and as soon as she gets elected, her mouth would zip up immediately, and she won't have anything to say. Hopefully, she would have a lot to say in Washington if she wins that election. You know, some of these Democrats, once that do-re-mi, you know, passes their nostrils, they have a tendency to forget all about their voters, some of the Democrats. So let's just hope she's not one of them. That's why I'm saying, you know, Hollywood, actors, actresses, narcissism.
Well, that's because our system, you know...
Wealth, they're wealthy. How do you have... That's like Mayor Bloomberg of New York saying that he has empathy and compassion. He's a billionaire. How can a billionaire...
got billions of dollars.
Yeah. What compassion? Or even funnier than that, Donald Trump having empathy.
Oh, Donald Trump, please, come on. Come on.
With the stupid hairdo.
The man doesn't have empathy. He's a me man.
Right, right. He's a me man, and he admits it.
Gee, exactly.
He admits it. Now, Ashley Judd...
And he's built a whole program on it. What? The assistant there. What the hell is that? That program he's got.
The Apprentice.
The Apprentice.
You are fired.
Yeah, you're fired. I like firing people.
Well, hey.
What Mitt Romney said.
Yeah, Mitt Romney said he enjoys firing people.
Yeah.
It's like it's an ego thing, you know. It's
a me, man.
Insecurity.
It's the devil's way of life. Me.
Competition is the devil's way of life.
That's correct.
That's why I never get into. I don't believe in athletic competition. I believe in doing a sport or an exercise program because you enjoy the benefits you derive from it. Like
there's not. In other words, you don't stop playing basketball or something because you're a Christian. You just don't have that want to crush the other guy.
Yeah, and bash the ball out of his, and slap the ball out of his hand, and
right.
and
you play the game. You play by the rules, and who plays better wins.
Or elbow your opponent out of the way, jab your elbow in his ribs or something. See, some people are. I know some people that are obsessed with competition.
Yeah. Well,
and
well, that's what the devil was doing with. That's how he got in trouble with God. He competed against him, wanted to take over his throne. He thought he could be a better God than the Father. You know?
That is true.
So that's the whole thing there.
All right, I just want to
finish with Christie.
I just want to quickly say hello to Margaret Carlson of the Facebook left-wing political group Too Informed to Vote Republican. Ms. Carlson, Margaret Carlson, I want to say hello. There is one other person that I need to say hello to, but I'll do that possibly Saturday because I forgot to write her name down. I can only remember Margaret Carlson's name. Sorry about that, but you know, at least I got off, you know, paying homage to Margaret Carlson. I bucked heads with one of her administrators of the group, the one that called me a sexist for criticizing Ashley Judd, and she said that I did not do anything wrong in what I printed on the page. I simply told the truth. You know, he didn't like the idea of me trivializing Ashley Judd. He felt that, you know, and this is funny. Here's a guy doing that instead of a woman. You know, the point is, if Ashley Judd was a male actor from Hollywood, I would have reacted the same way. You know, I mean...
If it were Ben Affleck?
Yeah, how could Ben Affleck have compassion for the masses, you know, and be the best representative in Kentucky?
Well, I don't know about the best.
Like for the Democratic Party to go up against Mitch McConnell. You know, the point is you want somebody going up against a Republican that really can feel your pain as an American citizen.
However, you're forgetting one thing.
Yes.
When you got donors and when you're involved in the politics and etc., you change. You're not the same person that can extend compassion to the poor.
Well, because you choose. You choose to change.
You choose or not to choose, but you change because your allegiance is not to somebody who didn't give you any money for your campaign. It's to somebody who gave you money for your campaign.
So you accept.
And that's the change that occurs.
So if you accept the money,
then you owe. Quid pro quo.
Right. If you don't want to owe, don't take their campaign contributions.
And then you won't be elected.
Which is not fair.
See the catch-22.
Yeah, but see, that's the bad part of it. Why does monetary gain, why does money play a factor in running for a political office?
Because
you shouldn't do that.
The big boys wanted control of the government, and that's how they got it.
Because if money is always a determinant in who stands a chance of winning an election, then that means the fat cats will always be in control.
Correct.
And which means that you could have 24 brilliant, genius little guys who have tons of compassion and empathy for the poor, and they'll never stand a chance. They'll never go to a debate. They'll never be invited to any debates.
Correct.
Nobody will get to know them.
Correct.
Like the independents.
It's called corruption.
Nobody would know. Right. And speaking of corruption,
the system is corrupt.
Speaking of corruption and words like cronyism, recently, New Jersey governor, Republican governor, Christie, held one of his town hall meetings in Paterson, New Jersey, at a Southern Baptist church. I believe it was on Carroll Street, I mean, there's an article here and a very comical photo. I think it is. Anyway, on the Facebook Paterson, New Jersey page, there were many disgruntled Pattersonians that were unhappy with Christie and I guess the lack of funds going into the city of Paterson. So I simply told them, in this situation, don't blame Christie. Blame the local politics in Paterson and the people you voted for, the mayor and all the cronies that he hired for, and it happens to be common knowledge, for all the funds that just magically disappeared. You know,
disappeared?
Yeah, well, Christie doesn't want to give any more money because funding already went to cities like Paterson, Camden, New Jersey, you know, the cities that are rotting like a rotten piece of fruit, you know, and the politics in these very depressed, crime-ridden towns just, you know, the funding just seems to vanish.
Thin air.
So why should a governor or a senator keep on pouring money into a slum, into a ghetto, if the politicians are making the money disappear? And nobody disagreed with me on the Paterson page, but here's a funny photo of here we have Governor Christie being blessed by the Reverend Michael McDuffie on the left-hand side, and St. Luke Baptist Church pastor Kenneth D.R. Clayton at the end of Tuesday's town hall style meeting in Paterson. Okay, the meeting style was starkly different from past events. And here is the photo of something that I call Pastor McDuffie attempting to drive the demons out of conservative Republican Governor Christie. Let me know if they could see it.
Too far, too good, Claude. About there.
How about that?
Up just a touch. Okay.
All right. You see
He's blessing him, man. He's blessing him now.
It looks like he has a claw hold, like Baron von Raschke.
Yeah.
He looks like he's putting a claw hold on Christie.
Or Spock with a mind meld.
The Vulcan mind meld. See, he's trying to. It looks like he's trying to. Well, there should be a lot of demons after touching Christie's head. I mean, there should be evil entities.
And he's trying to help him lose weight. You!
Melt fat cells, adipose tissue. Melt adipose tissue. Melt fat cells. No, but
no more aromatase. No more aromatase production.
In the case of praying and touching a Republican's forehead, I would say it's exorcism more than anything else. I just thought it was funny.
Well, it is funny too, because the person doing the blessing, so to speak,
is right,
is not biblical in any sense of the word, and yet he thinks he has this power. He doesn't have the power at all.
Well, there are certain Christians out there who are part of they're part of the whole evangelical born-again movement, who feel that you can have a conversation with God about any little problem you may have. You can ask him for things like he was Santa Claus or a genie, and you can converse with him. And these people are stubborn. If you tell them that that you can't do that, it's not biblical, they get all upset and everything, and they feel they could just lay hands on anybody and pray.
How much more upset do they get if they really understood that God is not saving the vast majority of humans at this time? Well, then what would they do?
Well, you know what they tell me? They say that when me and you talk about the 144,000 elect to rule in Jerusalem, they said that, well, God doesn't really mean 144,000. He really means all these saved, born-again people, which go into the millions.
What did I just say? What did I just say? If they really understood that God is not interested in the vast majority of humans at this time.
Well, that's the truth.
That's why he has a great white throne judgment in Revelation 20. That's why. And that's why in 1 Corinthians 15 he has the first resurrection, which involves the 144,000 who in a twinkling of an eye are changed to spirit beings like God and Jesus themselves. And then, of course, there's another resurrection, a third one, which involves ancient Israel. The dry bones. The dry bones.
Well,
but again, if we need all these resurrections and things of that nature, what the hell does that do to the theory of the immortal soul?
Oh, really? That flies out of your body?
And goes up to heaven.
And or goes into a waiting period?
Well, no, it goes up to heaven, and it goes into a music store to buy its harp, so that it can play its harp all day long.
You have to be assigned a harp.
Exactly. And a zither.
What about Harpo?
A zither, too.
When he passed away, Harpo Marx, did he have to get another harp?
Harpo is taking the great dirt sleep. Just like his brother Groucho.
Gummo.
Zeppo.
Chico. Were there any more?
Oh, no.
But, let me say a quick hello to our fans in Indonesia. Miss Hanny Wanda and Mrs. Miss Ann. All right, we have people watching us in high definition in Indonesia. We are seen all over the world. Just want to show our appreciation. Hanny Wanda is in the process of making a video that will be the new introduction to our shows. It's not going to be long. It might be a 30-second or so video, and it's quite nice, what she's doing, and we appreciate it. Can't wait to see it. Okay, let's sink our teeth into these readings.
I got to check here to find out exactly which one I have, because I didn't circle it or anything.
Well, don't read the same ones.
I believe it's this one here. First, how delusional is this person to think that the president cares more about Hollywood and union jobs and getting people hooked on government programs than helping the middle class? Here is a quick point. Who does she think works for unions? The top 1%? Last time I checked, before retiring from a union job, thank you, it was the middle class. As of 2011, there were about 46.2 million people in the United States living in poverty, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Factor in another 47.5 million who are considered the working poor, and the number of people in trouble is around 93.7 million people. Someone has to help them. This president has done more for lower and middle class working people than the House Republican majority in Congress. Although every time you put a camera on them, they're saying they are all about jobs, jobs, jobs.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Well, where are the Republican-sponsored jobs bills? Not a single one in 5 years. The only thing they're interested in is protecting millionaires and billionaires from paying their fair share of taxes and blocking everything else this administration proposes.
And the U.S. media never gives face time to their opponents, to the Democrats.
They never call them out on it.
No, the media is always interested in interviewing Republicans and with their lies.
Is that the type of policies a letter writer wants for the sake of the country? I hope not. I'm proud to say that President Obama is a leader. As for the letter writer, I have a feeling she'll be just like some of my right-leaning friends and relatives. When it comes time for them to collect Social Security and Medicare, all of a sudden, there won't be such bad government programs.
Yeah, well, that's how Billy Morrow was. He was very much to the right, anti-unions, just like his father, who was an executive, a lifetime executive at IBM. And then all of a sudden, he hit a financial crisis in his life. He hit rock bottom, and he suddenly turned liberal.
Ain't that the truth?
Quickly.
Ain't that the truth?
He treated the government programs like they were the goose
that laid the golden egg.
Excuse me, that laid the golden egg.
Yeah.
Totally different change of heart.
Yeah, it is. It's a little much. It's much easier to have compassion when you are struck.
When it hits home.
Yeah, when it hits home. You know, that's one of the problems with Republican conservatives. It hasn't hit home to most.
Which means they don't care about other people's plight. But when it hits home, they care.
Well, I don't know about if they care. They care about their own plight at that time.
Like for instance,
you know,
when Christie was trying to get that funding for Tropical Storm Sandy in New Jersey for the victims, Republicans that were from other states in Washington just put it on the back burner. They were not really interested in sending federal funding to the Hurricane Sandy victims because it wasn't their state.
Well, not only that, they don't want any spending.
But Christie's a Republican. He don't like spending either.
Christie is a Republican.
But it hit home.
Yeah, Christie is a Republican.
Yeah.
But he's more an independent as far as some things are concerned. He doesn't toe the party line.
That's why he got snubbed in some kind of...
Correct. CPAC.
CPAC convention?
Yeah, the Conservative Political Action Committee.
Yeah, because
you got to be you got to be a right winger, you know,
hardcore, dyed in the wool.
Yeah, to go there. Yeah.
You got to be a hardliner Republican. Yeah.
The fact that Governor Christie enjoys high approval ratings defies logic and baffles the mind. A recent Quinnipiac University poll of New Jersey voters found that 74% approve of the job the governor is doing, and only 22% disapprove.
You know why? Because they got caught up in all that hype right after Sandy, with him hugging people. People were crying on his shoulder.
And besides, they don't know.
He was hugging people.
They don't know all the stuff that's going on.
A lot of victims are still waiting for their help, their funding.
Not just
right?
that. I mean, in running the state, they're not aware of the other things that are going on.
You mean
with the denial of medical services for women and the disabled and this, that, and the other thing, blah, blah, blah.
All the programs that he continues to slash and has slashed.
Yeah. Chopping
away.
And, of course, unemployment. Unemployment in New Jersey remains at 9.6%.
Listen, Chris Christie's evil twin has always been around.
While the national rate fell to 7.7% after the United States added 236,000 jobs in February. Then, there are such episodes as the one in which a no-bid contract was awarded by the Christie administration to Ash Britt for debris removal after Sandy. While the firm has a poor environmental record, it is politically connected. Get it? Cronyism.
Cronyism, yeah.
Haley Barbour, the former Republican governor of Mississippi, is a lobbyist for the company and a friend of Governor Christie. This raises questions as to Christie's ethical soundness. Perhaps because Christie makes a lot of noise, puts on a good show, he is popular. It surely can't be because of his job performance.
Nah, people like to be entertained by Chris Christie. Well, why do you think David Letterman, that other elitist ass kisser, very disappointed in the so-called
What was that?
I don't know. I heard a crash.
So did I.
In the so-called liberal, with the so-called liberal Democrat David Letterman, you know, he makes jokes and he tears right wingers a new asshole when they're not around. As soon as they're a guest on his show, he makes nice with them, and butters them up and talks so gentle with them, like he's afraid of offending them.
Yeah, they won't be back.
So he did that with the Kardashians. I mean, he makes fun of them all the time, and rightfully so. But as soon as Kim Kardashian and her sister, her sister's name is not important to me right now, but when Kim Kardashian went on with her sister, he was kissing their 75-foot ass.
That's a big ass.
You know, and he kissed Chris Christie's big ass too, saying that he's publicly supporting Chris Christie for re-election. This is what he says. First he trashes him, you know, for making all these jokes every night, and trashes him for his right-wing policies and everything, and then as soon as he's a guest, he's kissing his ass. It's like,
yeah. Well, what's wrong with Bono? She's running against Christie.
I never hear about her.
Yeah.
Why? Because she's not flamboyant and doesn't have the charisma and the personality that Christie has?
Guess not.
Christie's just obnoxious.
But why doesn't Letterman know some things about her? You know, and contrast them with Christie.
Because Letterman is probably a CBS station ass kisser, cocksucker, whatever you want to call him.
Oh my God.
And you know, anybody who's in the spotlight, in vogue, he kisses up to them. Now, I'm sorry to say it, but he's like one of those liberal Democrats that is so afraid of being disliked by others or to be labeled or, you know, in a negative light. You know, he wants to, please approve of me, please love me. You know, that kind of a Democrat. Spineless.
Stress does bad things to the heart.
The heart only? I'm sure it does bad things to the whole body.
New studies have found higher rates of cardiac problems in veterans with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder.
Mm-hmm.
New Orleans residents 6 years after Hurricane Katrina, and Greeks struggling through the country's financial turmoil.
Yeah.
Disasters and prolonged stress can raise fight or flight hormones that affect blood pressure, blood sugar,
cortisol perhaps,
and other things, yes, in ways that make heart trouble more likely. They also provoke anger and helplessness and spur heart-harming behaviors like eating or drinking too much. We're starting to connect emotions with cardiovascular risk markers. And new research adds evidence of a link. Said Dr. Niska Goldberg, cardiologist at NYU Langone Medical Center, an American Heart Association spokeswoman. She had no role in the studies which were discussed Sunday at an American College of Cardiology conference in San Francisco. A North Jersey social worker said Sunday that some homeowners with severe damage from Superstorm Sandy might be living under enough stress to cause health concerns. The body likes to be in the middle lane, emotionally and physically, and is always interested in getting back to day-to-day normal life. If your home is wrecked by a storm, and after week 1, 2, 3, it's not fixed yet, our bodies are not designed to live in that crisis mode. He said his center has seen a rise in recent years in stress among the unemployed, the underemployed, who get anxious about bills piling up and the possibility of losing their homes. He urged people facing such challenges to seek counseling. Oh yeah, where are they going to pick up the money to pay a counselor? They ain't got the money to pay their bills.
Counseling.
This ain't the other countries, you know, where health insurance is free.
My brother found out that the insurance company is demanding that he raise the foundation of his home. That is in
For flood insurance?
Yeah, on the Jersey Shore. He's on the Jersey Shore in Brick, New Jersey, and it's going to cost like, I think,
Brick was hit there with some
$80,000 or
some Sandy
some
stuff.
insane amount, like $80,000 to raise his home. He can't afford to raise his home.
Get it approved for insurance.
Yeah, he's got to take a loan out on his business, his auto body business. You know, well, who's going to see if he wants to sell it and move inland? He's got to find somebody to buy it, and to be willing to take on the expense of this.
Yeah.
It's a bad situation.
Well, that's because, you know, I mean, the insurance wants to always come out on top.
Yeah, and people,
I mean, in the old days, you wrote insurance on a risk, and if the risk happened, you paid it out.
And people insist on living near the ocean. They want to live near the ocean.
Oh yeah, that's the bit.
How
close does he live to the ocean?
You hear all these people bitching and moaning about the concept of selling their homes and moving inland. They're all like crying the blues that everybody wants to quickly rebuild on the Jersey Shore. The amusement parks, the homes, they all want money right away to rebuild. What makes them think is going to happen
well, maybe
in Point Pleasant Beach or Seaside Park when a worse storm than Sandy comes? Do they think that's not going to happen?
That's what I was just going to say. Maybe they should have thought about global warming before now.
Take it seriously.
Take it seriously, yeah.
Well, Gary Knowles says this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Just the tip.
With Sandy. But these people
are going to get worse.
These people are so... They demand the money to rebuild the amusement parks. We have to bring the industry back to the Jersey Shore. Hey, let me tell you something. Anybody who charges over $5 for a stick and hot dog, I have no compassion for. I don't feel sorry for them.
It's terrible.
There's one industry I despise. I believe it's total highway robbery, and that's the Jersey Shore.
Or anything like that. Baseball games, football games.
Same thing.
$5 for a beer. Come on.
And they make you pay to park.
You see what they did in Katrina? Well, it cost $10 for a bottle of water, something like that. That's your capitalism, baby. Huh?
And the media never brings these points out.
No, they don't.
Capitalism is the right to be a crook and not get arrested.
You see anybody going to jail on Wall Street?
No.
Right out loud, all of them should have been there. The largest study discussed on Sunday involved 207,954 veterans in California and Nevada, ages 46 to 74. They were free of major heart disease and diabetes when researchers checked their Veterans Administration medical records from 2009 to 2010. Checked again about 2 years later. 35% of those with PTSD, but only 19% of those without it had developed insulin resistance, which can lead to diabetes and hardening of the arteries. That goes for others who suffer trauma. They include survivors of Hurricane Katrina. Tulane Medical Center doctors led a study that suggests heart attack incidence is 3 times higher in New Orleans than it was in the 2 years before the 2005 Katrina.
Well, this is nothing. Katrina, I hate to say it, Katrina and Sandy is nothing compared to what we're going to get. What do you think? Take a lunch break?
Yeah, I guess so, because this is a little long.
Yeah, okay. All right.
This is a very interesting one, too.
Okay. All right, time for the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman's gastronomic delight, known as lunch, followed by his mega dose supplementation, and we'll catch you later.
Later, Gator.
All right. While the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman is chowing down, I might as well do a little promo. This gentleman right next to me here, see this guy? This is a self-portrait of the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, because the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman is a fine watercolor artist. You can see the William J. Eisenman collection of fine watercolor art. I would say about maybe 95% of what he has, because he has a whole bunch of new paintings waiting to be scanned. Go to its new home, the new home for the William J. Eisenman collection. The new home for the gallery would be William J. Eisenman Collection .tumblr.com. That's Tumblr.
TUMBLR.
Correct. .com. William J. Eisenman Collection, all one word, .tumblr.com. And you can just scroll down. Keep on scrolling down. Everything is there, including links to Newsletter Censored. And speaking of, I want to salute Mr. Army McGuire for finally having his entire Persian and Indian Club product line posted on his website, which is agelessstrength.com. Congratulations to Mr. Army McGuire, America's foremost authority on circular strength training with Persian and Indian traditional wooden clubs. So the whole product line is there. Now, if you're wondering how you can be a part of our organization and how you can join our entire organization, the way you join it is to go to newslettercensored.com and get your free annual subscription to Newsletter Censored, founded in 1977 by the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. Believe me, there is nothing like Newsletter Censored out there. You need Newsletter Censored. You need Newsletter Censored to learn how to defeat a conservative and to learn what is really in the Bible, to learn what the Bible really has to say, and not what phony, baloney, zealot, right-wing fundamentalist, counterfeit Christians have to say, but what the Bible really has to say, not what Republicans want you to think is in the Bible, which they have no idea, because they use the Bible and God as a front for their selfish, greedy agenda, and they're trying to rewrite the Bible. So as far as politics goes, current news topics, and Christianity, and the 5 taboos of American life, politics, religion, healthcare, human sexuality, and child rearing, you need Newsletter Censored. So just go to newslettercensored.com. You can either click on the printable order form, or if you have the ability to print very largely and very neatly, submit your full name and an accurate mailing address and your gift to support this work, and I guess it would be wise to write on the check free annual subscription gift, and you'll get your free annual subscription. You need Newsletter Censored. This is how you join our organization, right? And of course, old man Spock would say that will be a very logical move for you to make. A very logical move indeed, is to get that free annual subscription with your gift to support this work. Newslettercensored.com. Well, that wraps up promo. Let me see what else happened this past week. There was an article, excuse me for the noise in our back office. The ladies are having a little meeting, so they're speaking rather loudly, which we've told them not to. There was an article from the Alternative Health Organization. What was the name of that?
Natural Alliance?
Yeah, the Natural Alliance, USA or International? One of them, the Natural Alliance of Health. pertaining to the FDA trying to stifle, trying to censor honest testimony from people who have received health benefits from natural substances, from nutritional supplementation. I guess the only way they could control it is to attack the vitamin companies that might be posting testimonials from customers.
Geez, as far as I know,
it's nothing new.
they got it on a cereal box. You ain't saying nothing about that.
Ah, so you're talking about that high sugary crap from the American food industry?
Yeah.
At
On it says heart healthy or whatever.
At $5 a pop. Oh yeah, to say something is heart healthy sounds like a health claim to me. That means if you consume this product, it will keep your heart healthy, or it will make your heart healthy.
I think it's Cheerios, no?
Oh, you know, I'm so sick of that nauseating new commercial where they're singing this jingle, the one and only Cheerios. Who cares, the one and only Cheerios? It's nothing but oat flour. They might throw in a little oat bran, sugar, some preservatives, more or less. And they want like $5 a box for most of this puffed up with air, devoid of nutrition. I wouldn't even call it a breakfast cereal. And they show this little kid, like a spaz, picking up the Cheerios one at a time with his little fat chubby hand, eating the Cheerios in his high chair. Like that's supposed to touch people's hearts. Oh, how cute, the little baby's eating the Cheerios one at a time. Oh, I think I'm gonna go get myself a box of Cheerios and pay all that money for a bunch of oat flour compressed into a circle, into a letter O.
Jorge Mário Bertoglio, da Argentina.
We're on the air. So they picked. Speak of the devil. They picked a new pope. I hear, and he's from Argentina. Ah, I wonder if there's going to be a connection with the name Peter, because Saint Malachi of Ireland from the Middle Ages, who has named every pope that who will ever become pope, said that the last pope, the second to the last pope, would the word olive would be involved, and that was the German pope that retired, that quit.
Why the hell is olive involved in his name?
Well, everybody's got like sort of like a logo. Yeah, the word olive was involved in connection with his name. You know how they changed the name of the pope?
Yeah.
Well, if the word Peter is involved with this pope that they just elected, then St. Malachi's predictions would be 100% accurate, because he said that this particular pope would be the last pope in the end times before the Great Tribulation. But he's been accurate with every single pope that has ever lived.
How do you know that?
Because it shows in the old medieval writings, that's why.
Where?
It shows that Malachi knows what he's talking about.
Who the hell is Saint Malachi?
He was a clergyman of some kind. I don't know if he was a priest or a bishop, or for those historians that know more about Saint Malachi.
Was he of the Catholic Church?
Yes, he was of the Catholic Church.
Well, then what the hell are you listening to him for?
Because the predictions he made were for all the popes in the future after his time, after the period in which he lived. And he predicted them by name.
They changed their name.
No, they don't.
They do so.
Change what name? No, but the names that were connected with the popes that have lived and died were predicted by Malachi.
That's what you say, and that's what you heard. But you know what? It's garbage.
You don't believe in...
No one can predict it. If you believe the Bible...
You don't believe in prophecy at all, do you?
Only when God does it. Because no one else can.
You say the same thing about, disrespectfully, about Nostradamus?
Absolutely.
No, Nostradamus was a cool cat.
He was not of God.
But his predictions were accurate.
No, they weren't.
Damn right they were.
They didn't even. They had to skew the predictions to actually even make them say something.
You mean the quatrains?
Yeah, whatever. This is bullshit.
Well, he had to do that.
If you believe the Bible, there's only one person who knows the future, and that's God. And the Father actually knows more than the Son.
Well, naturally.
Because the Son don't know when his time is come to come again. But the Father does.
I thought it was the angels that didn't know the end.
Angels don't know either.
You saying Jesus doesn't know?
That's correct.
See, so all these evangelists and pastors that think they know.
Well, Mr. Malachi thinks he knows something too. But
Well,
who cares about it whether somebody can predict popes?
Well, he knows who the last pope will be. Because the
The
other
little horn. We know who he is.
Because
the little horn.
Because the other popes that he mentioned by name did become pope in the right order, the right numerical order. He predicted them accurately.
That's what the program said.
He was the Irishman, a perfect thing to bring up, you know, for our St. Patrick's Day countdown. The great prophet Malachi.
Now, if you're talking about the prophet Malachi, that's something different. That's Malachi in the Bible. But he don't predict no popes. Because why would he be associated with the Catholic Church?
No, it has to do with predictions that are prior to the end times. Certain things to look for when we are near the end times, or in it.
We are in the end times right now.
Yeah, I believe that
But there's many more things to occur.
I believe that the white horse of the apocalypse is already here.
That's been here for years.
False prophet, the false church. There's plenty of them around. You know how many people are mesmerized by prosperity preachers like Joel Osteen?
He was up there on Facebook the other day. Somebody put him up there.
Did he have a big smile on his face?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what my mother says. Oh, what a... my mother and a person I was dating at the time was saying the captain. The Air Force captain, the JAG. She was a lawyer. They were saying how nice and positive that man is. Oh, he's always smiling from ear to ear. Joel Osteen. Yeah, but he never really talks about salvation or the scriptures, or he just talks about how God wants you to be wealthy.
That's it.
And he wants you to be. And he wants you to be. And if you're wealthy, it's a blessing, and he wants you to be even more wealthy. But
what happened to be content with contentment?
Well, that's what the Bible really says. To be content with contentment.
So what you're saying is that he goes against the Bible's admonitions. So then how can we be taking him seriously as a Christian?
Yeah, content with contentment simply means if you have decent food, enough food to eat, clothes on your back, shelter, your health, whatever, you should be content with contentment. You know, you shouldn't have to always outdo your neighbor, and you shouldn't always have to get a better car every year, and
keeping up with the Joneses.
Keeping up with the Joneses, or keeping up with the Kardashians. Or
I could never keep up with the Kardashians, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, if they got on top of you with those with those big rumps,
they would crush me.
Yeah, you would be.
I would be crushed
you
to
would be
death.
squashed, man. No, but I mean, it's like everything is about monetary gain with these prosperity preachers. And my question is, if they were so much of God, the prosperity preachers, that everybody keeps on sending their money to, what do these preachers do with all their millions? Do they ever feed the children? Do they help poor, starving children in the world? Do they help the homeless? You never hear about them helping the homeless or the poor.
They have, like Pat Robertson, they have a little foundation or whatever
Foundation?
that puts a couple of bucks in Africa. That's what they do.
Yeah, yeah, just to make themselves look nice.
That's right. So they don't contrast too much with their investments in the diamond mines.
It's like in professional wrestling, in the independent circuit, it's like a promoter, a wrestling promoter, claiming that his wrestling event is pretty much done for a fundraising charitable event, like St. Jude's Children's Hospital. You know, we're conducting this wrestling event in honor of St. Jude's Children's.
Maybe 5% goes to St. Jude. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe 5%.
I heard of a charity the other day, one of them involved with veterans or something. Only 2% of the money went to the veterans. 2%.
That's like reading a disclaimer, the fine print.
Well, we give them some money, so we're being honest, you know.
Or what about the Cancer Centers of America commercial? And I hear there's a disclaimer: your results may not be the same as the results of the people in the commercial.
Yeah, and they try to give you the impression that they are alternative in nature too, but they're not, because they like you. They give you a list that compares their results with the regular Orthodox results.
Do you know what Hackensack University Medical Center calls alternative medicine?
I can imagine.
Chiropractic.
Of course, that's the one they try to get rid of.
They don't mention chelation therapy or hyperbaric oxygen chamber therapy.
No, they don't like it all.
Yeah, they don't mention juice fasting, on green juices like Gary No uses, detox programs. No, chiropractic.
Chiropractic, they believe, is a cult. A cult.
No, I believe in chiropractic.
Chiropractic has been shown to be the only therapy that gets results with backs.
Well, they call it a subluxation when the vertebrae is out of line and it pinches. It pinches the nerve.
But the results.
It's like osteopathy. It's like an offshoot of osteopathy.
The results are proven with chiropractic.
Yeah, but it is not. They do not represent alternative medicine.
No.
They are one fine little spoke in the bicycle wheel. In the big bicycle wheel called holistic health, alternative medicine. Simply one spoke, just like herbal medicine or acupuncture, acupressure, shiatsu massage, Reiki, nutritional
alternative therapies for cancer.
Nutritional therapy, alternative therapies for cancer, like the famous Dr. Brzezinski.
Lawrence Burton. Isn't Lawrence Burton the one with the neoplasms, who has good results with brain tumors? Or am I thinking of someone else?
I know when I think of alternative and cancer treatment, I think of Mr. Brzezinski.
Well, Brzezinski, maybe he's the one I'm thinking of, but whomever it is, Brzezinski, Lawrence Burton or was that Brzezinski in the Bahamas?
I don't know.
Because I think the one I'm thinking of is in Texas, Lawrence Burton. I think.
No, I think Brzezinski's in Texas too.
Well, who was the one in the Bahamas where they shut it down?
I would move out of Texas if I was Brzezinski, if he really is living in Texas. You know, why conduct alternative therapy in a right-wing redneck state?
Well, the reason I asked that, whoever it is,
Go to the
he
Bahamas.
deals with the neoplastons or whatever, and he has good results with brain tumors, and it has been found that Valerie Harper has brain tumor. Unoperable, incurable. Doctors give her 3 to 6 months.
Did Gary Null ever mention Valerie Harper?
No, not yet. He probably will. But the point is that Valerie Harper, she has the money and the wherewithal to search for this guy who's doing this neoplastons or whatever and check him out. You know what I mean? But right now, what she has done, is she has accepted
Orthodoxy. Yeah.
orthodoxy, and that she's only got 3 to 6 months, and she's just going to live the best she can for these months that she has.
Yeah, she's been duped into thinking that there is no hope. That if the drug,
that this is the only way to go.
if the drug
the orthodox way.
if the drug pushing allopathic orthodox medical profession says you have terminal cancer, brain cancer, and you only have a few months to live, people like that accept it and they wait it out instead of looking elsewhere. Hey, Patrick Swayze said no to Gary Null.
Exactly.
You know, and look what happened to him. I mean, he actually put down holistic health.
Well, there you go.
You know, and I mean, then you have other celebrities like a Suzanne Summers who had breast cancer who made a full recovery with alternative medicine.
Well, that's what it is. You see, the official always has the last word and the last respect from people. The official verdict.
Well, you've heard of them. You heard the story about the man in New Zealand who wasn't given long to live, and the family wanted to put him on mega dose intravenous vitamin C, and his doctor, oncologist, whatever, said no.
Pooh-poohed it.
Pooh-poohed it, said no, and then finally he gave in to the family, and the man actually started to recover from the drip vitamin C, and then they took him off it, and then the guy started getting
Went downhill again.
He went downhill, started getting worse, and it ended up that he went back on it again, and he made a full recovery from the intravenous drip mega vitamin C. So I mean, the proof is there,
but
in massive quantities. The evidence is overwhelming that the natural way, that holistic medicine defeats and blows away a drug-pushing allopathic medicine. The proof is there.
Well, Gary Null was talking about a meeting of my 600 or 700 doctors he had once. He brought on stage this kid that he cured of autism, another gentleman on stage that he cured of his MS, and Maureen McGovern, who he cured of Alzheimer's. Well, the doctors were all a titter and twitter and poopity poopity poop. And then guess what? No one ever followed up. Not one.
No.
That's what you have. That's what you're dealing with.
Yeah, Gary Null has treated some big legends of the past successfully, and they don't follow up. Did you hear Luann Panesi mention the individual that made a complete recovery? I think it was stage 4 colon cancer, and she was telling a story about one of their fans had stage 4 colon cancer and was a long-time listener. So Gary says, if they were a long-time listener, how did they get stage 4 colon cancer? They obviously were not listening that closely.
They weren't doing. They were listening.
They were not doing.
They weren't doing.
No, they just listened. So what happened was, they finally got on the protocol, because Luann Panesi says, are you willing to follow the protocol exactly and commit to it? And they finally agreed to commit to it.
Yeah.
And he made a recovery. But as soon as he told, his medical doctor asked, what did you do? My God, what is your secret? How did you recover so rapidly from this stage 4 colon cancer? As soon as they mentioned Gary Knoll and juice, with the green juices, and
the doctor sticks his fingers in his ears and go la 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 la.
He's totally blew them off.
Yeah.
The doctor didn't want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be because he makes money off the drugs, pushing the drug?
Money off of the tests. He makes money off of that. All of that is concerned.
Well, you can't patent Mother Nature, so he don't make money off it. So he don't, which means he doesn't really care about his patients.
Correct, because what is the first do no harm?
Hippocrates.
And he's supposed to have his patients' welfare above his own. That doesn't sound like a businessman, but yet that's what doctors have become. Businessmen.
Businessmen.
Correct.
Well, the whole idea of paying out of pocket for a good, complete education or decent
That's
health,
a stupid American idea.
or decent health care is a stupid American
conservative religious nuts.
I wouldn't even use the word religious. I would just say they're nuts. They're greedy capitalists. These should be rights, not privileges.
Well, obviously, they don't believe in any rights at all. Except the right to own a gun under the Second Amendment. And do not touch that amendment. Do not amend it. Do not... Oh, we can amend the First Amendment. Yes, you can't yell fire into the crowded theater. You can't slander. You got whatchamacallit laws, libel, etc. That's okay. We can amend this first. But don't you touch that Second Amendment.
Well, they're still worried that if their guns are taken away, that a rogue government will cast them into slavery.
Oh yeah, but that rogue government at this particular time is populated by Republicans in the House and the Senate. Where they filibuster every damn thing.
How do they think? Why do they think all these privatized prisons exist now, which is an excuse for slave labor? And they charge you room and board, just like they do in a hospital. They have the nerve to charge room and board in a privatized prison.
Yeah, but the point is...
to keep you there, working for free. Yeah.
Why do they think black helicopters are coming from their own people that are in charge in the House?
Because they believe the Republican lies that everything is the fault...
of government.
Of Democrats and Barack Obama. Everything is the fault of Barack Obama. They got him as some kind of fascist. They got him a fascist dictator.
But these things went on before Barack Obama.
They forget that
this love of guns.
They forget that Congress is controlled by the Republicans. That's why you have all these fascist things going on. But they don't look at that. They just take the propaganda. These idiots. These teabaggers, they take the phony lying propaganda from Republicans and they just accept it and absorb it and believe it.
And never question it.
And they turn around and they blame the black man. Like that poster, G.W. Bush says, I fucked you, I'm the one that fucked you over twice because he was elected. Twice.
He wasn't elected either time.
No, he fucked you over twice, but thank you for blaming it on the black man. That's what the poster said.
Yeah. Hey, you see the post, the picture somebody put up on Facebook the other day? Hugo Chavez in a coffin, and George W. Bush saying, "Hey, how'd that socialized medicine work out for you there, Hugo?"
What about all the poor Americans that don't have the health care that all the senators and congressmen and presidents have, and governors. A lot of people in America don't have the health care.
Did you see any...
Capitalism is so wonderful. What about all these Americans that don't have health care?
You see any cuts in their wages because of the sequester?
Oh yeah, when are they going to
any?
cut their wages?
I don't know. Since we had to cut tours to the White House and some other shit, what about their wages?
I think Barack Obama...
Do you think that they would get paid? And they would hold up Social Security checks? You think they would do that?
I think the Democrats in Washington, and including Barack Obama, have been too nice to the Republicans in Washington.
Because they want a deal.
Yeah, I noticed
They
that.
can't get a deal
They want to
with
deal.
the ideologues.
They want to compromise, which will always sell out the people.
Correct. And in this case, we'll sell out the big three. Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Which Mr. Paul Ryan and the boys would love to get their hands
Well,
on.
then the poor will perish.
Correct. But who cares anyway? Atlas Shrugged, baby. Ayn Rand. Who cares about the poor?
You know what you do? You don't care about the poor? You ever hear something called independent candidates and not voting two-party?
Money. How do you get that? How do you get that when you got Citizens United that allows all the big corporations and big boys to put as much money as they can and want into elections?
Well, the independents have to find a way to be known.
Why do they have to do it? Why can't we just outlaw
That too.
money
That
to
too.
campaign? Citizen United. Repeal it. Congress can repeal it. It might go back to the Supreme Court and they might put it in again. Mr. Scalia. But that's the way it's done. It's just like our capitalistic system. It's not God ordained. We can change it at any time.
Yeah, and the president can make public announcements informing the people as to exactly what is going on and what's holding back his policies. He can tell the people, hey, don't blame Barack Obama. Blame the Republicans in Congress.
Well, he's been doing that, but hey, Fox News has been doing a good job too.
Well, Fox News, they're a bunch of corporate ass kissers and cocksuckers.
They're propagandists.
Well, they're corporate whores, basically. They're being paid to represent the fat cats and the Republicans.
Well, that's what they do.
You know, it's like, in other words, it's like having me do a commercial, and they're going to say, "Listen, we'll give you $1,000 to do the commercial, but you have to lie through your teeth about this product."
Well, they don't come out and say that.
And then I have to force myself to say that this is the best tasting product of its kind, is second to none. I have to completely lie and look the people in the eye just to get that $1,000.
Well, we see that on television all the time.
And I have a choice of saying, screw you.
And it's done for more than $1,000.
Oh, yeah. All right. Hopefully we have some...
Well, this is of interest, okay? You know, you can't have everything. Oh, my God, top of the news.
Yeah, but there's so many serious things going on with the Republican Congress every week.
And there's other things, too, that's going on.
Yeah, but what's fucking us over the most?
None.
What do you mean none? Of course we're getting fucked.
None. We can start it out that way. That's accepting. You got to accept it.
Why?
Until things are changed. Until your change comes.
People have to be aware that we're being fucked. Not everybody is slick like we are.
More than 150 years after the USS Monitor sank off North Carolina
Old Ironside?
during the Civil War, 2 unknown crewmen found in the ironclad's turret when it was raised a decade ago were buried on Friday at Arlington National Cemetery. The evening burial, which included a gun salute and a band playing America the Beautiful, may be the last time Civil War military men are buried at the cemetery overlooking Washington. Today is a tribute to all the men and women who have gone to sea, but especially to those who made the ultimate sacrifice on our behalf, said Navy Secretary Ray Mabus, who spoke at a funeral service before the burial. The Monitor made nautical history when the Union ship fought the Confederate CSS Virginia in the first battle between two ironclads on March 9, 1862. The battle was a draw. The Monitor sank about 9 months later in rough seas, and 16 sailors died. In 2002, the ship's rusted turret was raised from the Atlantic Ocean floor, and the skeletons of the 2 crew members were found inside.
2 crew members?
Yeah. On Friday, the remains of the 2 men were taken to their gravesite by horse-drawn caisson.
Well, the Monitor hopefully will be restored and put into a maritime museum.
One pulled by a team of 6 black horses, and the other pulled by 6 white horses.
Wonder how it sank.
Wide glove is too heavy.
Yeah, but there's only a crew of 2 inside?
White-gloved sailors carried the caskets to their final resting place near the cemetery's amphitheater.
Oh, boy.
A few men attending the ceremonies wore Civil War uniforms, and there were ladies in long dresses from the time. The ceremony also included taps, which was written the same year that the Monitor sank and became associated with military funerals as early as the Civil War. The sailors buried Friday would not have recognized some parts of the graveside service, however. The military band played America the Beautiful, which wasn't written until 3 decades after the Monitor sank. And the flags that draped the silver coffins were modern ones with 50 stars, not the 34-star American flag of the early 1860s. The cemetery where the men will lie has strong ties to the Civil War. Arlington was established as a military cemetery during the war and is on grounds formerly owned by the Confederate General Robert E. Lee. One of the cemetery's first monuments was a memorial to unknown Civil War soldiers. A marker with the names of all 16 men who died on board the Monitor will ultimately be placed at the graveside of the sailors buried on Friday. Researchers were unable to positively identify the remains, though they tried reconstructing the sailors' faces from their skulls and comparing DNA from the skeletons with living descendants of the ship's crew. Medical and Navy records narrow the possibilities to 6 people. What is known is that one of the men was between 17 and 24 years old, and the other was likely in his 30s. A genealogist who worked on the project believes the older sailor is Robert Williams, the ship's fireman, who would have tended the Monitor's coal-fired steam engine. Descendants of some of the men who died attended Friday's ceremony. Diana Rambo of Fresno, California, came with 4 other family members. She's related through her mother, Jane Nicholas Rowland, to monitor crewman Jacob Nicholas, who died when the ship sank. The family didn't know a relative had served on the ship until they received a letter requesting DNA. But Rambo said she's since learned more about the connection to history that we never knew we had. She said after the ceremony that she's less concerned about knowing for certain who was buried on Friday. Kind of doesn't matter. It was all about honoring the 16, she said.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh, well.
Well, you got anything to say about the Monitor and the Merrimack?
Was, really, the crew was only...
The first Ironsides?
The crew was only,
16.
The crew originally held 16 men, right?
And obviously they found the other ones when, you know, when it sank or whatever, but these two were left down there.
Okay, and these are the first submarines, so to speak.
No, they weren't subs.
What about the?
They fought on the surface.
What about
Ironsides?
What about the U.S. Constellation and the
Constitution.
Constitution?
They're Ironsides.
They're Ironsides, and the Monitor was the same type of ship.
No, the Monitor would look. The Monitor had a round turret in the middle of the ship. The Merrimack was different. Had a different shape entirely.
They were lower and they were all metallic, right?
They were metallic, that's right.
Made of
but they stayed
an
on
alloy.
the surface.
They stood at the surface, but not
That's
like...
the turret was a gun. You know, it moved around.
Right, but it wasn't
on the Monitor.
high above the surface like the
Constitution, no.
Constitution Constellation.
Nothing like that. It was steam powered.
Right.
So they didn't have no sails.
Right. It was a non-wooden naval vessel.
Yeah.
Well, it's part of American history, you know. I mean, hopefully they'll find a new home for the Monitor in a museum.
If there's something left of it, you know.
Yeah, maybe they could bring it up to Mystic Seaport, Connecticut. That's a U.S. Maritime Museum.
When I was in the Army, I saw a perfectly good road being repaved at my base. It was repaved to reserve money in the military budget that would otherwise remain unspent.
I could think of better ways to spend it.
Who can forget the way toilet seats were being bought by the Pentagon for $200 or much more? That occurred during the Reagan years. Thank you very much. There was so much money thrown at the Pentagon during the Reagan years that he didn't know what to do with it. They were paying $800 for a screwdriver, $200 for a toilet, etc., etc., etc. The Center for Defense Information, an organization made up of high-ranking retired military officers, often warned that much Pentagon spending was worthless.
Yeah. Oh, but according to Republicans, social programs are worthless to them.
Throw more money at the Pentagon, but cut it from social programs, baby.
So spending $800 on a screwdriver,
that's worth it.
That's worth it. But by spending 50 cents or $1 on a screwdriver and $799 on poor people,
yeah,
which would have been more intelligent, that's not good for them.
No.
All right.
Dwight D. Eisenhower warned how the military-industrial complex threatened the strength and well-being of us all. A lot of spending during the Iraq War is unaccounted for. It is welfare for the war, death business. It has nothing, military spending has nothing to do with defense. We already spend more on military than all of our potential adversaries. in the world.
Obviously.
Anyone who says we are weak or can't economize is just rooting for more waste. Some right-wing chicken hawks would like more wars launched by lies. Enough! Attacking President Obama for trying to make military spending more manageable is unpatriotic.
Yeah, well, war is a racket. Former General Smedley Butler said it well. War is a racket. And it certainly is.
War is a racket. And
profiteering, war profiteering.
Yeah. I heard a figure the other day that the Iraq War, if it's really over, cost us $1.7 trillion.
Really?
Our deficit today is $1.4 trillion, I believe.
So you
That would
eliminate.
have paid that right off, wouldn't it?
So you eliminate the waste of the Iraq War. G.W. Bush's baby, and Cheney.
Yeah, by the way, that program is on again, Hubris. I'm not sure when. MSNBC, this week sometime. Check your local listings.
Yeah. It wasn't Cheney originally a CEO in some defense associated corporation?
Well, they did the defense projects and stuff like that, I think. But Cheney goes back to Hoochagoo's days.
Nixon?
When he was he was a defense secretary.
Reagan?
He's the one who brought in, I think it was under H.W. Bush, he brought in how the way the military works now, by private contractors. Before Cheney, the military cooked its own meals, cleaned its own toilets. Today they hire private contractors to do that.
You know, I'm glad you said the
Halliburton.
word. Halliburton.
Halliburton.
The infamous Halliburton.
Right.
Now, are you almost finished with this article?
I didn't start one yet.
No, I mean the article that you just read.
Yeah.
All right, listen. You know, I heard that Republican Governor Christie wants to privatize the New Jersey lottery and have it controlled by foreign companies. Does that mean that if you win the lottery, you might have to worry about whether or not you're going to receive your winnings?
Or that your winnings are going to support China.
Even the lottery they want to privatize? They want to privatize absolutely everything.
Well, that's what these Republican governors are doing. They're selling off all the assets of every city, town, country, state that they can.
They want to destroy whatever's left of the United States
And the New Deal,
government.
Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal, they want it destroyed outright. I believe my new article's title is "We Need a New Deal."
I saw a banner promoting unions in Wisconsin, and I said to them,
What?
there was a banner like promoting unions from the state of Wisconsin. So I said to them, how the hell, if Wisconsin is such a pro-union state, how the hell did that
Idiot.
right-wing piece of shit ever get elected governor of Wisconsin?
Who the hell knows?
Is that Walker?
Yeah, Walker.
How did he ever get elected?
Not only once, but twice.
But twice, if Wisconsin is such a pro-union state.
Exactly.
You know?
There's a guy, there's a thing going on in Michigan now, in one of the cities in Michigan, where what they're doing is, these governors and stuff, went, like for Detroit. It's Detroit that is the problem. So what they're doing is they're going to bring in a manager, financial manager. He will be the potentate. Not the mayor, not the council, not the people you elected. But this potentate is going to come in, and he will be in total dictatorial charge. That's what they're doing. And that means that they want to do away with unions, and they want to do away with firemen, and they want to do away with teachers, and they want to do away with policemen, and they want to do away with anything that involves spending from the governments, whether it's city, state, or federal.
So anything that can be privatized will be privatized, even the lottery. Wake up, people. All right, you got one last heavy-duty article?
I don't
for
know.
Today?
Well, it depends. You want to live a long life?
No, I want to go.
You want to live a long life?
I want to go for the jugular vein.
If you want to live a long life, then I guess this is important.
Because there's a lot of people that like soft, easygoing things, and they annoy me.
Scientists hoping to mimic the life-extending qualities produced by a chemical found in red wine and dark chocolate
Resveratrol?
say they have solved one of the mysteries about how this compound works to combat the effects of obesity, diabetes, and certain cancers. The findings, published in Friday's edition of the journal Science, could lay the foundation for a variety of drugs that act like concentrated amounts of resveratrol, and might I add, can be patented.
Well, they already did it with omega-3 fish oils and vitamin A.
Yeah, what is that, Levazin or something?
Yeah, I forgot, but it's like, my God, how the hell could you patent Mother Nature? And they found a way to do it, and you know, and they making you think it's all natural, but it's not. It's probably just a synthetic version of. And just take omega-3 fish oil and eat fish that are rich in omega-3s. That's all you have to do. You don't need to take a patented drug.
Oh, the drug companies say you have to.
Made from omega-3. Well, they could say anything they want.
The compound that has inspired a $30 million a year supplement business. Pharmaceutical giants have invested millions of dollars in the quest to improve on the compound that helps rev up the body's cellular defenses against disease and aging. Harvard geneticist David Sinclair and his colleagues have been working for more than a decade to uncover a chemical link between resveratrol and a group of enzymes known as sirtuins. S-I-R-T-U-I-N-S, sirtuins, which can trigger proteins that rejuvenate the cell.
So cocoa contains resveratrol also? Not just red wine? I didn't know that. I know the Asian herb knotweed is a very, very rich source of resveratrol. That's why most of the resveratrol supplements are from knotweed extract. Yeah. Well, it's actually.
How about the skin?
Well,
that's where
it used to be derived from the skin of the red grape until they found out it was cheaper to get it from knotweed. You know, just like lecithin used to strictly come from the egg yolk until they found out to getting it from soy was a lot cheaper than getting it from egg yolk.
The new results will help achieve a more rational design of resveratrol-related drugs. We are working in the dark. We were working in the dark before. Sinclair's resveratrol-related research has vaulted him to rock star status by the standards of biochemists. He has sipped wine on Nightline and 60 Minutes and presented his work at industry conferences. SmithKline paid $720 million for Certris, the biotech firm he co-founded, to commercialize his discoveries. But Sinclair's results touched off an academic imbroglio. Some of it fueled by rival pharmaceutical companies. Scientists on both sides reacted with enthusiasm to the latest resveratrol findings, saying they would lay to rest a key disagreement, even if they won't dispel skepticism about the possibility for a pharmaceutical fountain of youth.
Pharmaceutical fountain of youth? Well, it used to be a natural fountain of youth.
But that's what they want. They want to make a drug so that they can patent it.
Every damn thing in the United States under conservatives is all about profit. It's a shame.
You know, it's a strange contrast. God's economics in the Bible does not allow for interest payments.
Not too crazy about capitalism, God is.
So, just think. You'd be content with contentment, wouldn't you, if you had, say, $1 billion,
Should be.
but you had no way of investing it to pull interest?
No way?
Well, God wouldn't allow that.
Oh, okay.
So, in other words, that would take a lot of greed and things like that out of economics, wouldn't it? Because there'd be no way that you could improve upon your $1 billion
Then you would have to ration.
unless you worked
You would have to
to
ration.
gain more.
Yeah, you would have to ration the $1 billion.
Well, yeah, you could do that, but you could also work to get more. Not make money for you. Somebody put up on Facebook the other day something about, you know, that old crap that they're saying about I don't like my money going to lazy people, my taxes going to lazy people, right? So I put up there and said, oh, of course you mean the rich who live off their investments.
Right. I also saw.
They didn't mean that, of course, but you know.
I also saw a banner that mentioned congressmen and senators that are in Washington getting
74,000
a year and free health care doing no work.
Yeah, they're not working today.
I mean, they're not lazy louts. They're not lazy.
Ain't it funny that it's always the lazy poor, but it's never the lazy rich?
Never the lazy rich.
And even as far back as you can go back in every country's history, and the rich never had their children work. That was below them to have their children work.
I'm sure no United States congressman or senator has their kids ever working for minimum wage.
And they're all in private schools. Even Obama's kids.
And I hear that Obama's kids and the children of congressmen and senators in the United States, as a rule, do not eat genetically modified food. They all eat organic.
Ooh.
Obama's kids eat organic. So I guess healthy, organic foods, a top-notch healthcare system, top-notch education. Okay, I guess all these things are fine if you are the children of the wealthy.
Yeah.
You're entitled to these things. I mean, they're entitled to these things, but not the children of the mainstream masses and the poor.
That's like in the many years ago, when people used to talk about living for a long time. This would not be available to the poor, to the middle class, only to the rich, of course.
At one time, yeah.
Well, probably even today, but that's how the thinking is. See? The thinking is from these people, whoever they are, that there are certain things that are the privilege of the wealthy and are not the privilege of those below them on the economic ladder.
Yeah.
It's the first time today, huh?
Yeah, I know. First time this kicked in. All right, let's
A major branch of anti-aging research centers on the effects of calorie restriction, which can send cells into a crisis mode that prompts them to repair damage and stave off hazardous changes in cellular activity. Resveratrol, found in such foods as grapes, peanuts, cocoa, and berries, provokes similar reactions.
Red skin peanuts. Red skin. Very, very good source.
Why didn't they say that?
Well, because I read it that it was the red skin.
How dare they say just peanuts alone?
No, they're wrong. It's that red skin around certain peanuts. I don't know if Virginia peanuts have a red skin or
No,
not.
they do not. They are roasted.
Right, but
They're not in their...
So red skin peanuts and the Indian style peanuts have the red skin. The Spanish peanuts, the little ones.
Oh, I love Spanish.
The little ones.
It's fresh roasted.
Yeah, I hear they're not.
Wrapped in their red skin.
I hear they're not cheap.
No, they aren't.
But you could still get. Oh, by the way, the Korean market, H Mart, has the loose red skin peanuts back. The raw ones in bulk.
Yeah.
They're back. You know, it's like
Roasting takes like a half an hour.
what is it? Like same price, $2 and change.
Whatever.
Yeah, a pound.
How resveratrol works remain a mystery. Scientists believe it stimulates sirtuin that breaks up certain proteins, helping them change cell behavior in ways that are beneficial to health. It's like a Pac-Man that removes these proteins and tells other proteins to go out and repair the cell. The science paper so far appears to have accomplished a detente, although several researchers, including Sinclair, said there was still a way to go before any miracle pill appears on the market. It might bring together the different views so we can move forward. This is how science works.
Interesting. Very interesting health-related article because resveratrol is one of nature's strongest antioxidants, along with polyphenols, which can be found in many foods, especially your brightly colored, deep pigmentation in dark berries. Of course, red wine, grapeseed extract, green tea, cocoa. Polyphenols have proanthocyanidins, oligomeric proanthocyanidins, OPC, and these are among the strongest antioxidants. Now the aromatic oils of spices like cinnamon and cloves, along with rosemary, thyme, wild oregano, they also have antioxidant powers. Any of the strong oils, especially cinnamon and cloves, are very high in ORAC score. So it's a very important article. It's more of an article for health talk, but I've discussed that in the past. It's antioxidants in terms of the resveratrol and polyphenols are definitely the way to go. And it's just a tip of the iceberg as far as benefits for what we know about it. I was reading that certain polyphenol-rich fruits like pomegranate have other benefits.